Alright. With One Punch Man Season 3 announced, everyone was excited because back then people thought it was going to be animated by Studio Mappa, because JC Staff did such a terrible job. Like, I was trying to I was reviewing it, see if it was good enough, and it was very meh. And I first thought it was not bad. As time went on, I'm like, yeah, this is terrible. Because JC Staff, like I said before, JC Staff is very, it'll pick and choose when it wants to put effort into its projects. Well, it'll be like, I want this project to be good, but I don't want this one to be good. I don't care about this one. I'll put all my attention to this one, but not that one, and so on and so forth. So we all thought that Mappa was going to do season 3. We were excited. Finally, a good quality thing since, Madhouse. But unfortunately, that is not the case. We were tricked. It was still JC Staff, and people were like, oh god. And now people are disappointed and stuff. Now, that being said, um, as I was reaping the bad news, I was thinking about, hey, there's another thing I was reading a while back that was like One Punch Man. It captured the essence of One Punch Man. Not as epic as One Punch Man when it comes to its art style, but when it comes to a story and characters. And that's why I came along a webcomic called Toaster Dude. Yes, Toaster Dude. This is not the one of the best webcomics I've ever read. Very simplistic, but yet meaningful at the same time. And it's like one of my professors once told me, simplicity is key. Meaning, sometimes everyone tries so hard to be unique and different and do so much to the point it gets to a clutter of things you can't really see. It really hurts the eyes. But when you do something very simple but yet effective, you pay attention to it, you remember it. To a guy wearing simple clothes, to someone saying a simple line, a song that keeps repeating itself over and over again. It's simple, but it's effective. So, Toaster Dude is about a dude who has a dream. He wants to have a normal job, have a place to live, and have an awesome toaster. That is the entire point of his life. That's all he wants, man. Until he saw someone in trouble. So he somehow puts the toaster on his head, and he stops, and he saves the day. That's it. That is it. But it's one of the best things I've ever read, man. Because it does what One Punch Man does. Where Saitama just wants to be the greatest hero, but he's so strong to the point where he is bored and wishes to have a true challenge or something to drive him. But yet you have all these other cool, creative characters around him with huge ambitions and goals and things that they want to do. They have dedication. They have way more detailed designs. But yet, they all fall short when it comes to Saitama. Saitama doesn't live in a big house or anything like that. He lives in an apartment. He gets his pay. He does what he wants to do after years of being a salary man. He wants to be a hero. So then, you have Toaster Dude, who has a simple life, and you see other characters around them. Characters who wish for world domination, characters who are in positions that they don't want to be in, characters who wish to be something bigger, but they don't know how. And they all come in contact with Toaster Dude. And Toaster Dude is just a guy with a simple life. And these guys around him have bigger ambitions, bigger dreams. Some of them have regrets. Some of them feel ashamed. Like, here's a dude who becomes his best friend, but formerly he was a scientist for an organization. All he wanted to do was something simple, but as life went on, chasing the true cruelty of life, that is, he realized there's more he has to do in life. There's a guy who's also in an organization who just wants to be with his family. This girl is an idol who loves being an idol but can't stand the pressure of it anymore and just wants to find some place to relax. There's a dude who admires Toaster Dude who wants to be big as Toaster Dude but doesn't know how to do it. At least he's going about it the wrong way. What I'm saying is that in life, our dreams start out as big but yet simple as kids. We want to be a certain cool character, or we want to be a cool soccer player, or a football player, or we want to be an actress or a judge. We see it so simple, so useful, so innocent. That's all we want. But as time goes on, realize getting your dreams are harder. You need connections. It takes way more than just hard work. It takes luck. It takes being at the right place at the right time. And sometimes you're not there. And sometimes when you do achieve your dream, it's not exactly what you wanted it to be. There's the drama, there's the conflict, there's the underhanded business practices that's going on. You know, you work for a company that you admire for so long, and when you finally get to that company, they're not what they used to be anymore. Things aren't as right as you thought they would be, and it kind of sucks. And sometimes we have a dream but forgot what it is. Like I want to become this, but as years go on, life gets complicated. It gets murky as mud water, and you finally get something in life successful. But then you look back like, is this what I'm really always wanted to be? Is this what I signed up for? And our excuse is, well, that's life. We do what we gotta do, and sometimes that's true. But then you'll see a guy who doesn't have it all going on. He's getting by, but he's okay. He's content with the life he has. And like, how are you living life so well? I'm here rich, but I'm stressed out. I'm constantly moving all over the place. I have tons of people I might have to let go, but yet here you are, a dude with a normal job, just making it by, just sitting there wondering what video game you're going to play the next day. How is it that you have it all figured out? And the guy looks at me and says, I don't. I'm just vibing. It reminded me of the rich man and the poor man, the guy who was just relaxing all day. He was just fishing in the boat. And the rich man is telling him, why don't you do this and get that? You can still waste your time, you're not enjoying fish. Just get money, make a business, and stuff like that. And realize what people want sometimes become too big for their britches, and it goes out of control. Many ways you can take this and interpret it in your own way. You really can. And that's what I love about Toaster Dude. It has action, it has comedy. It's very simple. Now, what if I told you that this was a spin-off based off a little comic book? Because this was technically a comic book and an actual series that the creator made. A series that wasn't so popular and got good reception. But people saw that comic book within the freaking series and that I want to read about this. Imagine that. Imagine you make your first story. You have good intentions for it, but no one cares about it. But instead, what people are talking about your story is this one panel in one scene of your comic book. We're like, yo, what book is that guy reading? That looks interesting. Is that a toaster on his head? That's nuts. Make that instead. Imagine that, man. But believe it or not, stuff like that happens a lot in life. It happens a lot. Where we will focus on something, give it so much attention, so much of our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and we put out for the public for display, and they look at it, and like, it's whatever, but what is that? They're looking at this one detail that you yourself didn't pay no attention to. You didn't really work on that much. It was just something just put in there. You're like, yeah, I want that. And it reminded me of something on my last project during portfolio day in college. It was, we were having to make a poster for the portfolio night, what it is. And we all had to do something for graphic design. Remember, not art, graphic design. Big difference. Remember that. Mine was to have this dude, photographer, take his photo, put it black and white, have one side with eyes and the other side with this high core processor running through the mind saying design of the mind and stuff like that. I put a lot of effort into it, getting the guy to take the picture, paying him, being a nice room setting, designing the eyes, having the processor run, all that stuff. And I was showing it to the public as for it to be like, this is what I want to do for my poster. And they were like, it's okay, is this really it? And he says, well, I had a simpler design. Like, he was asking me, my teacher was asking me, where do you get the design from? He says, well, I was thinking about, having just, my original thing was just having a brain that was designed with the word design and within the mind, like that. And then he says, go on. Oh, that's pretty much it. It was just going to have the word design, and then within the brain, we'll have, say, within the mind, Well, no, it was the brain that would say design. I shaped the brain for saying the word design, and underneath the head will say within the mind. And they're like, I like that. Go with that. But that was just a rough draft to this. It was just a rough draft. And it only took me an hour to draw. I told you not. And so I went with it. I got a silhouette of a regular human head going like this, had the word design shaped like a brain, and within the mind at the bottom, and put it on a black background with a gradient, with a green gradient going down. And what have I told you? That became one of the top 3 design posters for Portfolio Night that he wanted to put on the main display. However, the higher-ups didn't care for it, but instead they went for another poster where it was about a girl painting her face. Remember, that is art, not graphic design. And it showed nothing about graphic design, but it was all about art. And to the point where my professor was like, we have no choice. This is what they want. Well, imagine that. You worked hard on a first design. They don't like it. So you go back to the rough draft that people do like. And then when it gets that high boost push that everyone loves it, the point it doesn't get chosen because the higher up, someone who knows nothing about graphic design decided to go and be like, yeah, we want the one with the girl painting her face. That's cool graphic design. It's not graphic design. Oh god. So he says, don't worry, I'll make sure these things are remembered. So he put them on the postal display, asked my permission to have the poster and use it for future references for people who come into the classroom. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. Be happy with that. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But yes, I know I went on a long talk, but I just had to point that out, man. How sometimes how Toaster Man was created. You know, the guy didn't think about making Toaster Man, Toaster Dude, I mean. He just wanted to have it as a little comic book thing inside another series he made. But people were more invested into that. That's just what I wanted to say. Life's nuts. But anyways, Toaster Dude is a must read. There's not much going on, but that's the beautiful part about it. Not much going on. Just something to say. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like, comment, of course, hit the bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox on Anime. Signing out.